Chapter 3, Toning, Chants, and Exercises to Open Your Heart. What you will learn in this chapter. Sound exercises to heal the heart and clear emotional wounds. Role of the 4 lower bodies in the elements. Powerful chants for different functions, and restoring our connection with nature. Toning. Toning is singing a specific set of sounds, sometimes specific words, and is usually repeated, which produces a certain vibration of resonance. This resonance will enable you to change your thoughts. It happens at a vibration level rather than at a thought level. Because the chant's vibrations are repeated waves, their resonance within the body causes the change. Toning should be part of your regular spiritual practice, just as you periodically get an oil change for your car and periodically go for your body work. Finding time to incorporate toning into your spiritual life is good for your evolution, general health, and well-being, and spirit. It will assist you in your ascension work. Key factors of toning. Toning creates the rarefied state of instant fulfillment. This means that toning makes us pure simply by vibrating a pure tone through our bodies, which produces instant connection with all that is. Much like the concept of resonance, items that vibrate produce clarity in the vehicle of vibration and cause objects nearby to resonate with them. Imagine listening to an orchestra warming up for a performance. You hear the flute or oboe play A, followed by string and wind instruments all playing the same A note, and then playing it again till it is exactly the same pitch. That tuning is similar to what toning does in your body. It allows your body to tune to the sounds that are being given or sung. Many healers use toning as a tool to heal and move energy in their patients. A healer may play a toning recording in the background while working on a patient. The patient may be invited to participate or simply accept the vibration. You may have heard of tuning forks being used for this purpose. Motivational speaker and author Wayne Dyer, now deceased, tells of the Tibetans who gave him the knowledge of the sound of God. In his book Getting in the Gap, Making Conscious Contact with God Through Meditation, the book that accompanies his manifesting CD, he tells of chanting the sound of God, ah, in the morning for at least 20 minutes. The sound of God, oh, is to be sounded in the evening for at least 20 minutes. If a note is missing in your energy field, playing it on an instrument or reproducing it through the voice allows your body to replicate the missing vibration for itself. All vibrational healing works with this principle. You can heal emotional traumas through toning, which means your body can heal itself through sounding a tone that is missing. This is one of the primary reasons toning is so important. This is the principle behind the radionics and EMF machines that broadcast the vibration of a specific body organ that you may need. There is no right or wrong way to tone. Be willing to allow your vocal cords to open and sound an open vowel. Use your voice in a way that is different from normal speaking or singing. Toning exercise. Begin with one of the easiest practices. Get into a comfortable place such as the bathtub or a favorite chair, and as you settle in, let yourself make sounds. Do not worry about how it sounds or what emerges. Take your breath in through the nostrils and let it out with your mouth, allowing it to run over the vocal cords. It feels perfect in the moment. It allows you to fill in the gap of whatever is needed in the moment. Play with this. Find your bliss. Experiment. If you are timid, start your toning experiments in the shower or bathtub. You might start with the 5 vowels, sing at any pitch and play with the rhythm. If you have a Tibetan or crystal bowl, play that first and then make sounds to go with it. After a while, it will feel completely natural. There are other times you will feel the natural urge to sound when you are singing along with a song or when you are happy. Go for it. If you are not a singer, it is especially important for you to sing louder than you might be accustomed to making sounds. Why? You may have been told or felt your sounds were unacceptable, so you have held yourself back from singing. Singing louder gives you more practice so you can make up for lost opportunity and benefit from this. Hathor chants El Ka Lim Om. Toning is the language of the Hathors, and the Hathors channeled this chant to me. It turned out to be a powerful Egyptian chant, so I began to include it in my advanced Flower of Life workshop. After I'd worked with this Egyptian chant for more than a year, a student informed me that it was found in a book titled The Hathor Material. This was a complete surprise to me, although I was familiar with Tom Kenyon's work and no idea he had written about this in a book he co-authored with Virginia Essene. Years later, I found a recording in Egypt by an Egyptian woman that explains the chant's ancient Egyptian origins. This is not the only Egyptian chant that has been given to me without my prior knowledge or experience. Since I am an open channel, information comes to me not through channeling but through direct knowing. I decided to write to Tom asking for permission to use this Hathor chant on my recording, since he had published before I did. He was traveling, but I had already begun rehearsals and was about to schedule the recording studio, and the Hathors were adamant that I move forward with the project. Ultimately, I followed their guidance to finish the recording. I became a woman with a mission. If I couldn't get his permission, I would make it available for free. All summer, I kept working toward completion and emailing Tom's office multiple times. The master recording was finally done, and I sent a copy of the master CD to Tom's office that fall. Both Tom and Judy Sion, his partner, listened to it. At long last, he gave his permission and secured Virginia Essene's permission as well. Even though he doesn't give endorsements, Tom told me that the Hathors told him the CD would have its own momentum and would not need any additional help from him. He was right. I get many requests for this powerful CD, and it is one of our best sellers. Here is an excerpt from the Hathor material about the words in this chant. In our worlds, we have sounds for each of these four sacred elements. El is earth, Ka is fire, Lim is water, and Om is space or air. These four constitute a vibrational continuum. It is possible to chant the sounds of these elements and enter the archetypal reality in which they exist. It is as if these sounds open the door of perception and allow you to move into the resonant field of consciousness where the archetypal reality of the elements is alive. Indeed, entering into that realm and staying there for a while enables you to shift consciousness and perception in such a way that you sense the profundity of the physical world and also its place within the continuum of consciousness. I asked the Hathors to give me a way to remember the elements in the sequence used in this chant, since it does not match the familiar way we say earth, air, fire, and water. They showed me a volcano in Hawaii. As we approached this mountain volcano, they identified it as El. Then we saw the fire coming from the volcano, Ka. Lim was the gentle rain that followed, and Om was the wind that swept it all away. You may find this visual helpful when chanting El, Ka, Lim, Om. Several years later, I learned that legend has it that the Hathors live in a volcano on Venus. The four lower bodies. The four lower bodies are physical, mental, emotional, and etheric. They exist around the body in layers. Each of the four lower bodies has a specific purpose, and we work with them in such a way as to allow the pathways of information and experience to be open and congruent. When the bodies are lined up, coherent, connected, and communicating with each other, you are in alignment. It is important to understand the true link between the four lower bodies and the elements of earth, air, fire, and water. As we engage our energies to clear these basic building blocks in creation, it is helpful to accept the stage at which you presently find yourself. This will help you to move your awareness into this chant. If you do your part, the point of awareness shift will be handled by the Hathors. Physical body. Our physical body gives us permission to be in the manifest form. Your physical presence is the result of what you did as an etheric being when you moved into agreement to embody. The physical body is the expression of that agreement to express in matter, where we get to co-create in matter by the very distinct experience of being human. Mental body. Deepak Chopra, MD, estimated from his research that the average person experiences 60,000 thoughts a day, yet only 10% of those thoughts are about the present moment. How can we create the present if our thoughts are stuck in the past or future? The mind uses the mental body to go to the future and discover, oh, this happened in the past, therefore I must protect myself, or I will be afraid because this may happen again. Here's my potential for the future. A clear person can feel all of this and then think, I can incorporate the past and the future and create a new future. It is the mind that goes through the machinations, and sometimes it's like a locomotive that cannot stop. This is why clearing out the pranic tube and learning to tune to the elements will enable being in the present, the most important event of all. Etheric body shape. You may sense your etheric body shape if you have an out-of-body experience and still observe your body. Your etheric body is home to your chakras and is your link to your higher self. The etheric body resides energetically just outside the physical body. The etheric body is part of the body, not yet in manifest form. It is your first link to your higher self and is comprised of energy that is in touch with Source. Emotional body. Next, going outward and around your body is the emotional body, which is the receptor of all your emotions and may access past emotions through memories in the mental body. Emotions are energy that holds a purpose or feeling. Emotions reside in the fascia or connective tissue. When the same emotional wound occurs, the fascia retains divots that accumulate more of the same wound. The Orion series oils lift and dissolve these stuck emotions. The intention disc reformats the stretched out fascia like spandex returning from the laundry. Ascension tools make easy work of clearing your emotions. The emotional body immediately links to the past. It says, "This has happened before." Then recognition sets in. The core elements of earth, air, fire, and water all manifest through the emotions. Think about how you use these elements when your emotions become escalated. Originally, creation wanted a way to explore these experiences after they had been felt. Thus, the emotional body was born. Memory is a good thing, but the captain's log of emotion became a miasma of feeling that could be accessed all too easily, replacing the present with its counterpart in the past. It also was not understood how deeply humans would feel emotional pain. Clearing emotional wounds is essential. Until we clear emotional wounds, our ascension process is limited. The MerKaBa heals the wounds, however, the process can be accelerated with additional emotional clearing. Even Lord Krishna himself, star of the Bhagavad Gita, promised to deliver us from our emotional scars and hurts. He promises to help you with any childhood or other experience that is painful and difficult. Devotion to him is easy through singing mantras and bhajans to him. His request is to visualize him standing over any past wounds or traumas in this lifetime or any others. Ron Holt, former president and director of Flower of Life, now closed, was visited by Krishna in a meditation during a particularly difficult time of the FOL history. Once you are visited by Krishna, you will never forget him. His body is distinctly blue in color. He is usually seen driving his chariot. Toning to clear the pranic tube. Emotion is energy in motion. It is chi, or energy, that is qualified with memory. However, it is energy that is caught in a web tied to time. Emotion must be felt to be cleared. This is why unexpressed emotion is so dangerous. When your pranic tube is completely clear and resonating, the pure elements, emotions, come and go. They can be deep or wide, but they are in motion. This is as it was intended. Be prepared for some interesting things to occur when you do this chant. Setting the stage for the Hathor chant. This chant creates the link from your own awareness into the archetypal reality of the elements, as it is practiced by many indigenous peoples. If you babysit, you become aware of the needs of a baby. If you connect with the archetypes of earth, air, fire, and water, your vibration will reflect more authentically the needs of the earth. Take this occasion to spend time in nature. Embrace air, sun, which is fire, water, and earth. Appreciate them. Allow your awareness and consciousness to become attuned to the four sacred elements. I can promise you they will let you know how much you are appreciated. When singing the chants a cappella, unaccompanied by the CD or other music, you can keep track of the count with an outline of hash marks on a paper you have prepared. This way you can focus more fully on the chant. Chant the names of the elements in a state of reverence and discover that an inner world opens far beyond your imagination. Be aware that the Hathors may cause you to feel like you cannot move. Their energy may freeze your physical body while they work on you and clear your pranic tube. Don't let this frighten you. Instead, say thank you. After completing the chant, take an additional 10 minutes of complete stillness and silence. This is quite profound. There may be additional action from the Hathors during the still time. What happens during the silence is almost as powerful as the chant. It has been a wonderful experience for thousands who have participated. It is quite amazing to do in a group setting. As a result of entering this inner world, the archetypal world of the elements, you are even more deeply connected to the natural world around you, and you will experience this world with new comprehension. You will see and clearly understand that the earth itself is a sacred temple, and wherever you go, God is. This new comprehension is so profoundly different from our third dimension experience that attempting to describe it fails to provide you with knowing what to expect. Be prepared to be changed forever and love the rest of your life. The Hathors ask you to chant 4 times and only in repetitions of 4. For example, 4 times, 8 times, 16 times, and so on. The Hathors show up to work with you in groups of 4. 1 in front, 1 behind, 1 on your left, and 1 on your right, which is why they prefer repetitions of 4. Ideally, you would recite this 4 to the 4th power, which totals 256 repetitions. You'll be happy to know that we have done the counting for you, so using the Mantras of Ascension CD first track allows you to really get into your toning. This takes about 22 minutes on the CD. It most likely will take you longer when you do it alone, as the singers on the CD keep the pace going. Another benefit of 256 repetitions is that it allows human consciousness to settle and move into the archetypes of earth, fire, water, and air. When that occurs, your perception of the elements is crystal clear. You feel their aliveness, and they feel your humanity. The Hathors love you to do this chant out of doors where you are interacting directly with the elements. It is also useful to purposefully put your attention on your pranic tube. With your attention on your pranic tube, the prana, God's white light, moving through it becomes attuned to pure essence and activated by your sound. This then activates the elements of earth, fire, water, and air in you. Uprooting the unconscious. The Hathors, through Tom Kenyon, clarify points about negative emotional material as follows. Another thing to understand about this chant is that material from the unconscious very often begins to rise up, because consciousness settles into a very deep and profound state. One can experience every state of consciousness, every state of awareness, from absolute boredom and fatigue to high states of ecstasy and bliss, including an awareness of one's own demons, one's own negative emotional material. All of this can be activated as one chants this chant, so it is important to understand that whatever arises while you are chanting is part of the clearing. By chanting the chant of El Kalim Om, a person is, in our understanding, acknowledging the sacredness of the elements, acknowledging the continuum of consciousness from the source that you may call God through its various subtle levels all the way into the earth itself. Rest assured you are clearing Mother Earth too, here in the physical reality, which could be the densest sacred element level. One is affirming and acknowledging the earth as sacred, one's body as sacred, and one's place in the continuum of the consciousness that one may call God as sacred. It has been said that the body is the temple of God. We agree that your body is a sacred temple, for it is the space in which the 4 consciousnesses of earth, fire, water, and air, space, offer themselves to you in service. The Hathors have more to say about personal consciousness. We see earth as a sacred space, an outpicturing of the sacred elements of the archetypal realm of consciousness itself. We see earth as being as close to God as any other reality, for the continuum is whole. Whether one experiences oneself as close to divinity or separated from it has nothing to do with whether one is on earth, embodied or not. One's view is something that is held in personal consciousness. It is possible to be in deep communion with the divine, to feel completely at home in consciousness, and still be in a body. It is not necessary to leave Earth in order to go home, for home is a state of consciousness, a state of connectedness generated from within yourself. Create a link to the elemental kingdom. The Hathors have asked us to look at our modern culture and address a problem experienced by many of separation from nature. I make it a habit to be outside in nature every day. Although taking a walk up the street is good, it is not what is meant here. Try to find a natural area, perhaps a park or nature preserve that has no electrical power lines. Let the special time help you connect with the elements, the elementals, and more. Let the elemental kingdom hear your appreciation for the abundant beauty of our planet. One of the most important things this chant will do is link you to Mother Earth and Father Sky. I found that after using this chant almost daily for about a year, my connection with animals and the earth elementals made a monumental leap. I could hear and communicate with them. I was given other gifts as well. A daily practice of this chant for an extended period of time will really open you to this. In addition, it actually helps the elemental kingdom harmonize with the human kingdom, as you are literally singing their song. The chant also links you to the elemental kingdom in other ways. In addition to being connected to the primary elementals of earth, air, fire, and water, there are personality-based elementals. These elementals are commonly known as earth personalities, gnomes, fairies, and elves, water personalities, undines, fire, salamanders, and air personalities, sylphs. This chant allows them to tune to you and you to them. This is like having an exchange student or visitor from another culture. You begin to harmonize with each other. One day I met them in person while fussing at them about the sorry state of my garden. The cultivated garden around my house was full of weeds. I'd been on the road extensively and had come home to find weeds everywhere. I remember complaining, "This garden looks terrible. I thought you were going to help me keep it nice. I really wish I could hear you guys." Immediately I heard a cacophony of voices all talking at once. They were all talking to me in my garden, the gnomes, fairies, and elves. I said, all right, one at a time. I heard and saw in my mind's eye a gnome who was the leader. He appeared defiant, saying, "You never asked us to help you." I was dumbfounded. How could this be? I mentally retorted, "Yes, I did. Do you not remember the 150 tulips we planted? I carefully put dolomite in with each bulb and called upon you with every single bulb that went into the ground." He said, "No, you did not. You expected us to help you. You never asked." I stood there speechless. He was right. Now I was going to have to eat humble pie, which I did not want to do. I thought I had the right to get their help. I began to realize that a conscientious person with servants speaks lovingly and with kindness to the servants and does not demand anything. Who did I think I was anyway? I swallowed hard and apologized. Now I ask for their help. They do communicate with me now. This gift, along with the others mentioned above, is a result of the practice of the Hathor chant. Here's a little hint for communication with the elemental kingdom. Focus your thought on the concept of a picture like a single frame from a movie of what you wish to accomplish. Then mentally project this picture to your unseen helpers. Hathor chant hazard. We practiced this chant in the group setting of my Advanced Flower of Life workshop. In one workshop, one of the participants, who is an attorney lobbyist, became paralyzed during the chant. He was able to think and breathe and sing, but was physically unable to move his body, which annoyed him very much. I now advise that you can expect your body to become very still, and if it feels like you've lost control and cannot move, do not worry. The Hathors will work with your pranic tube and may have some very specific upgrades to install for you, which is why you need to be perfectly still. This has happened enough times that I know to expect it. You will be better than before after the Hathor upgrades. Hathor humor. In another advanced FOL workshop during the chanting of this mantra, the Hathors appeared to one of the men in the class. He asked the Hathors to show him what the fifth dimension is like. One told him to bite the Hathor's toe. He did. They all laughed hysterically. They said, "Do it again." He did, and they all laughed even more. When he shared his story, this man was laughing with such joy, like a little child, that we all laughed too. Who could resist this infectious laughter? Just retelling the story makes me laugh and laugh. When the men in the class told it, we laughed until we couldn't laugh anymore. If someone bites your toe, you yell for them to stop, but the Hathors did the unexpected and laughed. Don't let the laughter fool you into thinking this is silliness or frivolousness. True joy can come simply through laughter. Let this chant open your heart in ways you have never dreamed. This mantra is very powerful. Remember, you do not need to use the recording to do this chant, although you may find it is far easier to join with the choir that has mastered the pronunciation and chant. It is also fun to sing harmony with it, to change the rhythm and pitch. It is easier to continue to chant with the choir and know it will keep going until you have reached precisely 256 repetition. Okay, taking a break from reading. As the reader right now, I personally have loved this chant for quite a while, and I always listened to it, and I knew what it meant, and it's something that puts me in such a good zone of focus when I'm working out. I've listened to it over and over, so I love this chant. And the next one I know too, so I'll continue reading. Hebrew chants. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzebayoth is the most powerful chant in the known world. Although its origins are Hebrew, it has been used by millions of people for centuries, so it carries a remarkable, purposeful imprint of transformation, found in many places, including J.J. Hurtak's The Book of Knowledge, The Keys of Enoch. Its purpose is to clear everything back to original intent. Unlike the Book of Knowledge, we've used the traditional phonetic spelling and pronunciation. My personal experience with this chant is nothing short of miraculous. When I worked with a linguistic who had spent extensive time in the Middle East and knew both Hebrew and ancient Aramaic languages, she translated this chant to reflect a more current concept of forsaking all but God. This definition resonates with the effect it creates. Its energy can be accurately described to mean nothing that is not of God can exist when it is invoked. My early training included memorizing this as a form of protection of the purest or highest form. It will clear anything untoward, evil, spirits, or entities. It is especially useful while doing out-of-body work. It clears all the fields in the body and bridges us to all other dimensions. This mantra activates our holy grid bodies, which are more fully discussed in Chapter 13. Singing or saying this chant creates a bridge from third dimension to all other dimensions. Immersed in the chant, you will become one heart and completely connected to the love of God. It is extremely powerful. You may use this chant at any time or place. If you ever are fearful in real life, or see or experience dark energies on your personal journeys, asleep or in meditation, simply recite this chant. If the beings or energy are not of God's pure light, they may not stay. This is the second chant of the recording titled Hebrew Chant on my Mantras for Ascension CD or download. I'll say it one more time since I kind of sang it before and it might have been hard to understand. It's Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzebayoth. And it says the Kadosh chant has been used by millions of people for centuries. It carries a remarkable, purposeful imprint of transformation. The traditional translation is Holy, Holy, Holy Lord God of Hosts. Our new definition expands this understanding and helps you grasp its fullness. Forsake, forsake, forsake all that is unlike God. It provides you with additional information that enables you to better comprehend your true purpose and maximize its benefit in your world. A remarkable tool for emotional pain. The Hebrew chant is enormously effective for clearing emotional pain. Anytime you are suffering from a broken heart for any reason, when you are connected to God, all resistance but lack, what you do not have ceases as you are in harmony with God and all of life. How does it work? This Hebrew chant clears a direct path back to God. Imagine a man with 2 machetes walking through the rainforest in front of you. Your complicated path is now perfectly clear. This is what it is like to sing this chant. I have found that most of our emotional pain comes from holding thoughts of the past related to circumstances that we cannot change. This leads to stuck emotions. The Hebrew chant is a marvelous tool to help you clear this pain. Have you ever been really upset and know that you need to emotionally shift, yet lack the will to act or think any different thoughts? It's easier to observe in others. Have you ever been so miserable that you are happy in your misery? This doesn't mean you do not know better. It is just that the pain is so deep, your wound so great, that your ego needs the validation of time. End result, your feelings are stuck. Persons who recite this chant or play it when they are in a deeply distraught emotional state find the results miraculous. Sometimes you cannot really do anything to make something better. Playing this chant is one way to shift from your pain. You can repeat it or sing it to yourself. You don't need the recording to use this chant, but it does make it easier. When you hear it sung, it opens you to start feeling the energy of God. When you're feeling the energy of God, it is impossible to be miserable about anything. Experientially, it feels as if the cloud is lifted and the presence of God is felt through your newfound peace of mind. Fast track your ascension process with these 2 chants, and they will clear you completely on the inner and outer realms throughout all your dimensions of awareness. You can see why I was instructed by my guides to name them mantras for ascension. Additional powerful chants. There are other chants you can learn to do when you are stuck in traffic or in the quiet of the night and cannot get to sleep. My personal favorite recordings, in addition to the above, are by Deva Premal, Wayne Dyer, and others who have released chanting CDs or downloads. Jonathan Goldman and Greg Braden have released a CD sounding all of the vowels sequentially as the expression of the name of God. Using this method, you would chant the names of the 5 vowels in the English alphabet. Here they are spelled phonetically in the order they arise in the chant, so you can sound them out. A, U, O, A, I, A. I wish I didn't have to read that out loud right now. These toning recordings are quite profound and act as another tool for elevating consciousness. The advantage of using an external source of these sounds is that you get used to hearing it, which may make it easier for you to experiment on your own. But you do not need any recordings to do this work. Chanting is timeless. The world's religions provide us with other important chants. You can evoke something as simple as Hallelujah or more obscure Sanskrit and Hebrew chants. Some other traditions provide us with their most popular chants. Om Mani Padme Hum is a Buddhist mantra, which is also used by Grandmaster Lin Yun's Black Sect Feng Shui as one of the 3 secret reinforcements for the purpose of energizing a cure or an enhancement. This is part of the Feng Shui training I received as a graduate of one of his teacher's classes. And when you have a consultation with a graduate of his training, they will ask you to do this to reinforce the positive chi you are creating with the Feng Shui. You can chant or sing this mantra, and there are many recordings available worldwide. My favorite is by Philip Glass. Om Namah Shivaya, I bow to Shiva. A Hindu mantra used to call for peace is often sung as kirtan, a form of chanting the names of God. The words in kirtan chants are the various Sanskrit names of Hindu deities: Krishna, Ram, Sita, Ram's wife, Gopala, baby Krishna, and so on. There are also occasional honorifics such as Shri or Sir, and expressions of praise or victory such as Jai or Jaya. The form of kirtan is call and response, a musical style that dates back centuries and is a basic element of musical form in many traditions. For the style of singing, a leader or first group in other traditions sings a line that is then echoed by another group. Krishna Das is a well-known example of kirtan singers in this style. The purpose of repeating these names in ever-shuffling combinations is a simple one: to merge with the divine. My favorite recording by Robert Gass has sold more than 250,000 copies. When the World Trade Center was attacked in 2001, many individuals asked me what they could do. I told them to play this chant continuously and join in this chant whenever a moment became available. It is an easy thing that we can do, and I believe it can bring peace. Ritual vocalizing has been practiced for centuries and remains one of the most universal human impulses. We have no recordings of the earliest humans, but when we encounter indigenous tribes who've had little contact with modern civilization, they'll have sacred chants tracing their oral history back to their earliest origins. And if you look into creation myths from different cultures, in almost every case, the world is said to come into being through sound, through chant. It is in Hinduism, Christianity, Judaism, and Native American religions. That is evidence of an indigenous nature. The other evidence you can look at is young children. Almost all young children make up repetitive songs. They lose themselves in the rapture of singing. Composer and pianist Philip Glass has led the charge in bringing lesser-known chants to the West. His Freedom Chants from the Roof of the World by the Gyuto monks, Kitaro and Mickey Hart, was recorded at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York during the first Chinese crackdown on Tibet. The 21 monks from the 500-year-old Gyuto Tantric order, chanting for freedom and world peace. Their throat singing is accompanied by intermittent percussion and horns in a series of meditations to Buddhist deities. It's a beautiful and uplifting recording that is a paean to harmony and tolerance. In an article on Kirtan, frequent contributor to Yoga Journal Phil Catalfo writes, "Although we can't prove it, chant or sacred singing was probably one of the first expressions of human spirituality. It seems very clear," says singer-songwriter Jennifer Barazan, "that humans have been sounding and chanting as far back as the Paleolithic age and beyond." Barazan's album Returning, which blends original and traditional chants from cultures around the globe into a seamless, hour-long opus, was recorded in the subterranean oracle chamber of the Hypogeum at Hal Saflieni, a temple on the island of Malta. This chamber, renowned for its special resonance, was created for devotional rituals 6,000 years ago. It is likely, she adds, that for thousands of years there were unbroken practices of sound and song, possibly often relating to various life ritual practices such as birthing, planting, harvesting, death, and shamanistic practices of healing and visioning. Chanting in the King's Chamber. Another location well known for its acoustical properties is the King's Chamber inside the Great Pyramid in Egypt. Sounds from the Great Pyramid is a 2-CD set that recreates the experience of toning inside the King's Chamber. Recorded by a group of spiritual seekers who had traveled with me on one of the sacred journeys to Egypt, the group is chanting Om inside the King's Chamber. Much has been written about this room and many healing experiences have been reported. My favorite experience regarding the King's Chamber involves Hatem, a group manager for spiritual tour operator Quest Travel. Now operated by Marwan Nazmi, Quest has done much to advance opportunities for spiritual teachers. We all owe them a debt of gratitude. Mohammed Nazmi, his late father, was one of the most well-respected ground operators throughout Egypt. He passed away in 2018, and his son Marwan now runs the company. We had been in the King's Chamber for nearly 2 hours. It can be pretty intense, and we are usually soaked with sweat from top to bottom in that hot space. Nobody ever complains. We usually are in such an altered state by the time we come back from our time there that we're oblivious. I was the last one to come down the plank from the King's Chamber as we exited. I like to be last to make sure everyone in our group gets out. Hatem was waiting for me. Standing full face in front of me, Hatem gave me a full body hug. This was unusual, for Egyptian men don't necessarily touch women, and tour operators do not necessarily hug their clients in this way. I was surprised, but I let it go. Our tour continued to sacred sites throughout Egypt for the next 2 weeks. We all left Egypt, and I flew to Paris for a week of teaching. My return to the States passed through Cairo. So late one evening, Hatem picked me up with his driver from my Paris flight and escorted me to my airport hotel for my brief overnight before my flight to New York the following day. He turned to me from the passenger side of the front seat and said, "Maureen, I have something to tell you. Do you remember the hug I gave you after you were in the King's Chamber?" "Yes," I smiled, remembering how incredible that group had been. Leaning over the front seat toward me, he continued, "I had had a terrible back problem for the last 6 months. Every healer, doctor, masseuse, or energy worker I met, I asked to work on me. It would help briefly, but nothing lasted. I knew that if I was the first person to hug you after you returned from the King's Chamber, I would be healed. It has been 3 weeks. I am cured. Thank you." Hatem is not the only person to credit the King's Chamber with a near miraculous healing. John Reed, a sound scientist and cymatics researcher, reports that his back was in such bad shape that he had to pay someone to carry his sound equipment into the King's Chamber. However, after lying in the sarcophagus there, he found his back was completely healed and without pain, and he carried his heavy equipment out of the Great Pyramid effortlessly. Using the sounds from the Great Pyramid CDs will assist you in recreating the original group's experience. Numerous individuals have used these recordings for various applications from meditation and journey work to healing physical ailments. I was guided to use toning in the King's Chamber along with the power of Phi found in the very structure of the Great Pyramid. Using the knowledge of Phi as related to sacred geometry and the Great Pyramid, these powerful CDs are focused on the interdimensional portal I believe to exist in the King's Chamber. You may discover that the toning and connection with the King's Chamber and Phi will take you on a journey greater than you could have imagined. A user of this CD wrote, "As I listened, I was immediately transported to the King's Chamber. I felt myself being shot out of the top of the point of the pyramid as if being shot out of a cannon. I was being taken up and up through a space of nothingness. As this happened, I saw several events in my life from a new perspective. This is awesome. Thanks for giving us such a powerful tool." Finally, while beta testing the CD, I received a call from Ron Holt, former president and director of Flower of Life Research, now closed. I needed to put the phone down for a moment to get something, and the soundtrack for the sounds of the Great Pyramid was playing in the next room. When I came back, Ron asked, "What are you playing? I could feel something really powerful in that sound. What is it?" When I told him it was the toning in the King's Chamber, he said, "Wow, I could really feel the vibration coming right through the phone." This was from a small boombox with speakers in the next room. As the reader, I personally have never heard these CDs. I just really wanted to read this book. But I've never worked with this author or her teachings before. Just putting that out there. How does chanting affect your ascension work? Any form of ritual vocalizing or toning and chanting will bypass the brain and go for resonance. This tells us it doesn't require thinking or emotional processing to heal an emotional wound. Emotional healing is essential for ascension work because hanging on to your emotional wounds will keep you tied to past pain and trapped in third-dimensional experience. Resonance will tune the entire body and especially the heart to the frequency of God. Have you seen the many drawings of the torus around the heart? Toning the names of God in any forms, such as kirtan or vowel sounds, brings you and your awareness closer to the divine and aligns you with higher vibrations. Sacred sounds and toning have been used for centuries by the world's religions with great effect. If you are having any trouble breaking the barrier to your heart, consider a toning regimen as a valuable tool to help you bypass the mind. Opening your heart is essential for the MerKaBa meditation. The more your heart is open, the more effective the MerKaBa becomes. These two elements, the heart opening and the MerKaBa meditation, will bring you into resonance with the universe and your fifth dimensional self. The dimensions are covered in chapter 12. This allows you to tune with the world around you in such a powerful way that you will be able to know what you need to know when you need to know it.